Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we are going to be making a traditional grilled cheese. So what you will need is some butter. I like the spreadable butter, it just makes things a little bit easier, but if you just have stick butter, that works. I am going to be using some Colby Jack cheese in slices. Use whatever cheese you have. And then also some bread. So the first thing we're going to do is butter the bread. We don't have to put any oil in the skillet because the butter on the bread is going to be enough. Okay, so you're gonna butter just one side of the bread. And you want to try to spread it evenly if you can. Some butter is more spreadable than others. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and butter the other side. Not the other side, the other slice of bread. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put one slice of bread, butter side down, and I'm going to turn on my my skillet. Okay, so here I'm going to add my Colby Jack cheese. And I'm going to add 2 slices just to make it extra cheesy. And then my other slice of bread will go on, and this one goes butter side up. So this one went butter side down so it touches the pan. This one goes butter side up so that when I flip it, the butter will touch the pan. Okay, what you're going to do is you're just going to check and make sure that the bottom becomes golden brown as it cooks. So it's just about ready to flip, but I'm going to let it cook a little bit longer. It's starting to get golden brown on that side. My cheese hasn't really melted yet. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and flip it. When you flip it, just make sure that the bread stays even. If you flip it and the top bread slice moves too far forward, just kind of scoot it back. You can do that right now until the cheese gets melted. And the second side usually doesn't take as long. It is just about done. And the cheese is really starting to melt. Okay, and I'm finished. So I'm going to turn my burner off. I'm going to move it over to the plate. And we will, I like to give it a diagonal cut. Oops, cut it diagonally. You've got a nice cheesy grilled cheese. And you can see that the cheese in there is melted quite nicely. And this is a great meal for a Friday night. You can have a bowl of tomato soup and a grilled cheese. Anyway, super easy, quick. You can do this. So the next one is going to be the Caprese grilled cheese. I'm just going to set this over here for a minute. Okay, so the Caprese grilled cheese, you will be using mozzarella. I have some fresh mozzarella. You don't have to have fresh. You can use you can use shredded mozzarella. You can use whatever you have. If you've got mozzarella sticks, you can cut them up in pieces and put them on there. Just use what you have. But a mozzarella, I usually use basil, like big basil leaves. but Kroger was out and my plant has not grown up enough. So this is all that I had. I like this better than the dried basil. It gives it a little fresher taste, obviously, because it's not totally dry. So we're gonna use some of this. And then I have 2 little tomatoes. Any tomato works. It doesn't really matter what it is. I personally don't like the peel of tomatoes, but you can absolutely eat them. So what I'm gonna do is just peel these up real quick, and then I'm gonna slice them. And when I slice them, I'm gonna make sure that I have a serrated knife. So this at the edge has little teeth on it, that's serrated. So that way I won't crush the tomato when I'm trying to slice it. And I might just use 1 tomato per sandwich because these are kind of small. I almost have this peeled. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, all gone. All gone. All right. Uh-huh. Okay, yeah. Oh, please don't get in there, sweetie. Okay, so I'm gonna use the serrated part of the knife, and I'm going to slice like pretty thin slices. You don't want it to be too thick because you want it to warm up and be with the cheese. So I have four good pieces there. I'm gonna go ahead and get my basil ready. So this is just lightly dried basil, and that came from Kroger. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get my mozzarella ready. And this mozzarella is actually already in slices, so that's awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and pull them apart. I'll probably use 3, we'll use the heel piece too. So 4 chunks of mozzarella. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get my bread. So this is just a whole grain white bread. And I'm gonna get the bread buttered just like we did before, where butter goes on one side, and that side will face down in the skillet. So I'm just gonna butter one slice. It's gonna go butter side down, and I'm gonna go ahead and assemble. So I'm gonna put some mozzarella on. Oh yeah. And then I'm gonna get my tomato in there. And I'm gonna get my basil. I'm gonna go ahead and use the other 2 pieces of mozzarella just because, oh, I think it's gonna be good. Okay. Then I'm gonna butter the other side of the bread. And I'm gonna turn this one down a little bit. The last one I was on a medium to low heat. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit because it's gonna need time for the cheese to melt. And I don't want the bread to be burned. So I'm gonna put it on a low heat. And I'm just gonna let that sit, and I'm gonna let that cook. Here's my spatula. And I'll come back when it's ready. So I went ahead and flipped one. I made a second one. But I went ahead and flipped one, and it's nice and crispy on the edges. That's exactly what you want, and my cheese is really starting to melt quite nicely. So I'm gonna let that cook a little bit longer, and then it'll be ready to eat. So I just gave my grilled cheese, my Caprese grilled cheese, a little look, and it looks like it's finished. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the plate. And I'm gonna cut it in half so you can see it. I like to cut it diagonally. But you can see that the cheese is nice and melty, and the tomatoes are in there and they're hot, and you got the basil. Super delicious. Anyway, I hope you enjoy your Caprese grilled cheese or your regular grilled cheese, whatever it is that you decide to make. Thanks for cooking with me.